for the content of that email, just so you know. And I'm going to do a screen share with Canvas. As I do so, I added some stuff, a couple things to Canvas, and I want to make sure that you know where to go to find those. I added a couple of videos, and I'm hoping after today to add a couple more. Here we go. I am on the instructor view. This is your student view. So student view right now, look at how big this major assignments folder is getting. You kind of got a lot of stuff that we've accumulated so far. We'll come back. I've added a couple things there too, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. If you scroll down, and I'm on the home screen, home, inside of our Canvas page, we've got helpful Zoom videos and TED Talks. I have finally started adding a couple of sessions to those for your benefit. So the last one that we did last class period was the CCS Foundation Scholarship. That's due in March if you want to do that. And then just in general, the scholarship assignment overview from last week. I still have another video I'm going to try to upload. The voice, where I covered the voice, did not work. So I'm going to re-go over that today, but I'll let those of you who are already previously on that call and you feel like you're good and you've done that, I'll let you go early as I go over that for anyone else who needs it. Okay, so that's there. You can view those anytime, and I hope that it helps you. I'm going to, so your week 5 quiz will open on Thursday, and I will make sure before we close on Thursday that I quickly go over the key page numbers for that. Inevitably, if I open it too early, I'll have someone who takes it at the first of the week, and then I go over the key page numbers, and then they're emailing me back like, Miss Wilson, can I retake the quiz? Because I didn't know, this or that. And I'm like, well, no, it's just a one-shot thing. So I'll open them on Thursdays when I go over it anyway. That way everyone's like on equal footing, and then you'll have until Sunday to take those. Discussions. So we always have a weekly discussion. And the next couple weeks, you're kind of smooth sailing. The only things that are actually like due are the discussions and quizzes. But you've got, as I've indicated, some other assignments that you do not need to wait to the last minute for. You need to go ahead and be working on those. And I'll talk about those in a minute. My application of grit. So this comes from the chapter. It's one of the very few spots in the book that I didn't like. I do like the whole chapter overall. I think that there's so many sayings. Toughen up, Buttercup is one that I think is a cool saying. Or, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, or things like that. So I prefer the word tough rather than grit. But they talk about grit and applying grit in your life, especially in your college studies. And instead of having a victim mindset, as they've already talked about, have a growth mindset, but also I would say have a grit mindset. Like, I'm going to get through this, whatever I got to do. I need this diploma. I need this degree. I need this so that I can do better tomorrow or next year. So personally, and I'll just summarize this part of it. I love this book. There's one part in the whole book that I kind of don't like. And he's basically talking about, I don't want to spoil it for you, but a story where he goes to Waikiki, one of the most famous beaches in the world, in Hawaii, and he's a college student. How many of you have the money right now to just buy a plane ticket to go to Waikiki? Don't everybody raise your hands at once. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay. So that's what he was doing in college. He got to go to Waikiki in Hawaii, and he met this girl there, and he spent the summer there, and he really fell in love with her, and they became boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, he had to go back, and all he could think about was getting the money to get another plane ticket to go back and see his girlfriend at Waikiki again. And so he wrote an article and submitted it to Sports Illustrated to try to score a few $1,000s, and it got rejected. But the editor left a note on there saying, hey, if you change this and this and this, we might consider accepting it. So he made the changes, he worked through it, he resent the article, and he got it accepted by Sports Illustrated. They gave him like $5,000 or $6,000, I think, and he scored his plane ticket to go sit with his girlfriend on Waikiki Beach in Hawaii. And that was his story about how you need to tough it out and apply grit. As an instructor and as a person, trust me, as a mother, as a, just a person, my problems are more serious than that. And I know for sure that students your problems are more serious than that. So when we talk about applying grit, I think it's more about like, I've got students that are single parents, and I've got to figure out this or that, or I don't have transportation, I'm taking the bus every day, or, all these different things. I think that there's other areas of life where just for basic survival needs, we're having to apply grit, right? In addition to our college classes. So that's my only critique mainly of the whole book, is I think he needs to take that page out and come up with a different example of what it means to apply grit. I want you to think about it though, and this is your assignment. You will think about it. Think of a situation where you faced an obstacle or challenge, and in order to overcome it, you had to apply grit. I have a hint right here, helpful hint. This response, whatever you type for this discussion forum, can almost always be used for the unique obstacles paragraph on your scholarship letter. If you think about it correctly, even if you go back to your early childhood challenges you had to overcome in some way, you can almost always, whatever you write for this discussion forum, just keep in mind, I might be able to use it for my assignment that's coming up. Okay. So back to those assignments. I've got those recorded for you. If you missed the scholarship letter and need to go look at it, check out the helpful Zoom videos and down at the bottom. Those are there. I'm not going to go over that again, but I do have a couple of things that are added here and you need to be aware of these. And these are both at the end of the month of February. Okay. At the end of the month of February, you are going to be meeting with the instructor. Hold on just a second, baby. You're going to meet with me, and you're also going to meet with another professor regarding a class. So if you notice, we had, and I've talked about this before, I haven't emphasized it, but we have a meeting with a counselor coming up in March. I probably should reorder that so that it falls later on your list. But I'm going to remind everyone on this call what's the procedure for emailing a counselor, as well as giving you recommendations. I've done that in the past, but I'm going to do it again today. You also need to schedule a meeting with me, and we talked about that in relation to the scholarship letter. I did have a request from a student. Miss Wilson, I've already got a letter and I've already got a scholarship I'm trying to apply for. Would you meet with me early? And the answer is yes. I'd be happy to do that. We've got a small group. I'd be happy to go ahead and start those next week and just space them out or whatever. So what you need to do, and I've got the instructions here, if you click on the assignment, you need to email me. Okay. So we're going to talk about educational planning, what your goals are and things like that, as well as look at the scholarship essay. I've gotten to know you guys a little bit through that first intro discussion forum, as well as like your goals discussion forum and things like that. But I look forward to actually meeting with you and talking either in person. I am on campus part of the day. So if you would rather meet me in person or something like that, we can arrange it. Or if you're learning from a distance and you just want to stick to Zoom or a phone call, even, that's fine as well. But go ahead and reach out. Some students, if you already have like a draft that you've got going on your scholarship and you already kind of have some ideas, reach out to me early rather than late, and we can go ahead and schedule as early as next week to talk about both your rough draft for your scholarship as well as all other things career and academics related. Otherwise, if you need a little more time, I'll be reminding you of this about middle of the month, like, hey, if you haven't scheduled an appointment with me yet, it's February 14th. So go ahead and do that type of thing. Okay. And notice you do have a rough draft and then a final draft of your scholarship essay that are due around this time. Yeah. Stop me if you have any questions. Back to the home screen. The other extra assignment that I've added here, and these are small, notice this one's 50 points, big deal. You are required to meet with me, and we're going to talk about your rough draft letter and then we're going to talk about your education plans. Then from there, you're going to go meet with a counselor. This one's a smaller assignment. I still encourage you to do all assignments. It's worthwhile, but I have students who feel like they're doing fine in all of their classes and they don't need to email another professor. And this one is, so for this assignment, you'll look up your grades as well as assignments you have for other classes, then email a professor about any questions, concerns, or struggles you're having in the class. This can be scary, but I encourage students to get in the habit of doing it in order to ensure college success. And I want you to think back to our TED video about the importance of asking for help. To get credit, you can either screen share it with me. So when we meet one-on-one, notice this is due at the end of the month, same date as the other one. They're due on the same date. To get credit, you can either screen share it with me. So when we meet one-on-one, Miss Wilson, I did send an email to another professor. Okay, share your screen and let me see it. Cool, you're good. Or whenever you send it, you can just CC me to it. And when you email the professor, you can say, hey, in my Guidance 102 class, we got a daily grade assignment where we're being asked to email one of our professors and ask some questions about the class. So I'm just wanting to know a little bit about my grades, or I felt like I had a hard time on this assignment, or I'm struggling with this or whatever. Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing back from you, or something like that. We want to see students emailing professors. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with students near the end of the quarter where they're like, Miss Wilson, I'm failing this other class over here. What should I do? And I'm like, have you emailed the professor? Well, no. Well, you need to. And then I talked to the student a few days later. Have you emailed the professor? No, not yet, but I'm going to this weekend. Put that email out there. I know it's scary because there's that risk of rejection. And I know that that's real. So not, the same as what we watched on the video. I feel like we've got a very helpful campus overall and helpful instructors overall here. I can't guarantee you that every single professor you'll ever have will be that way. I've had a few nasty ones, and I've had a few that just flat out didn't respond after like 2, 3 weeks or whatever. And so I hope that's not the case. I'm not saying that's the case. I feel like we have a lot of good instructors on this campus, but you need to email anytime you have a concern. What it does too is it timestamps it. So even if the professor doesn't reply back to you, there's a documentation that's dated that you did try to reach out about your low grade in math, like way back early in the quarter, right? And, so if it gets later in the quarter and you're still struggling and you never got a reply, you've got something to go on. If you ever did, God forbid, but it does happen. I've seen so many things, need to file a complaint or something like that. You kind of got some documentation that you tried, sort of thing. So it's for your benefit. Notice it is only worth 10 points, so it doesn't have to be the greatest email ever. You do need to respectfully, and I'll show you that in a second. Hello, Professor so-and-so. My name is, and I am in your blank class, just so that they can kind of think for a minute and place you. And then when you get to the end of your request, you need to say, thank you for your time. Look forward to meeting you. And then you end it by saying, sincerely, whatever your name is, just so that they know who you are. I've gotten emails that are from like dragon123@gmail.com. Oh, hey, I didn't do so well in your class last week. Can I make up my assignments? And so I don't know who Dragon123 is. I don't know what class he or she is in. I don't know anything. They didn't name the assignment, so I can't even place like, which class or which assignment they're talking about. And I have to reply back and say, hi, Dragon, what's your name and what class are you in? And, let me, so just try to always be forthcoming with that information so that the professor can quickly spot you in the class list and get that going for you. Any questions?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not trying to sound conceited, but it's like right now I have a 4.0 in every class I'm taking. And it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like email one of my teachers about like a struggle. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I would just have to kind of come up with something that's probably not true.
I feel like in your case, and I'm happy to do this for all students, if you feel perfectly confident and comfortable with your grade, I know that you've got some pretty clear interests. And even if you just wanted to schedule a time to stop by and visit with like a philosophy professor or something like that on his or her office hours, just to talk about some career ideas or talk about, here's what my goals are or
Okay.
whatever. Or even if you just literally said in the email, this is part of an assignment for Guidance 102. I still just wanted to reach out. And you're taking all of your classes by online, right, Steve?
I am, yeah.
It would be so cool. I don't know if they're all doing Zoom with you and if they've all seen you or met you, but it never hurts to just say, I'd love for you to be able to put a name with a face in case I need to take your class again. I'm really trying hard, or something like that. I'll let you think about it and you feel
Okay.
free to just run it by me. And it really can be like 3 sentences long or something.
I
Um,
think, I mean,
as
because
long as you have your name and I'm in your class and you can tell the professor, I'm really enjoying this class. It's my favorite part of your class. You know what I'm saying? But be in the
yeah,
habit of reaching out to instructors.
yeah, and I think what I can do is because I'm taking philosophy and I want to go into
Mhm,
philosophy
mhm.
later, I could maybe ask my philosophy teacher about like, what did you have to go through to be a teacher or something like that.
It's competitive. I will tell you that. I would be happy to have that discussion with you at some point. It is
Okay, yeah.
intense. I am not tenured. Okay. So it is intense, man. but it's,
Okay,
if you can score it and if you're the right fit for it, it can be done. So I'd be happy to talk to you about it, but you would
okay,
ideally, again, want to reach out to that guy in the philosophy or gal in the philosophy department. Say, Professor, how did you get where you are? I like this. I want to study
okay.
this forever, you know, and let them
Yeah,
give you some career advice because there's not like you're not going to go to indeed.com and, down the street at Fred Meyer, we need a philosopher, right? You got to
right.
think about what your career path is, right? And
Yeah,
again, I'd be happy to talk to you because that's part of our scholarship essays and our assignments in this class anyway. But email the
okay,
professor about that, and I think you would enjoy whatever feedback you get and appreciate whatever feedback you get from someone who's actually in that department. Okay.
for sure. Thank you.
Great question. Other questions? Okay, let me see a thumbs up or get any feedback. Are there any students on the call who feel like they would like to go ahead and try to schedule with me next week, like earlier rather than later, related to your scholarships or your educational planning or anything like that? I know it's a busy time. It's week 5. No worries. I'll keep putting the all call out there. And like I said, when you're ready, email me. We can schedule it. And I did mention to this class too, I'll try to set aside a week of class time during the rough drafts week when those rough drafts are actually due towards, so that's towards the end of the month. I'll set aside the class periods and I'll have everyone still check in at 10:30, but then I'll have like 3 people who are going to be like 10:30 to 10:45, 10:45 to 11, or whatever to block it out so that, all right, I've taken roll. You guys are free to go, but I'm going to meet with these students at, incrementally or whatever. Last thing, and we have not talked about this one, I don't think. The schedule planning worksheet. So that's far ahead as well. We're looking ahead into March now. I'm going to probably go through this weekend and try to reorder it so that these appear in order of due dates. You still should have the sidebar here. This is showing me all the grades I still need to update. Oh my gosh, right? But you on your sidebar should have assignments that are due, right? Like only 2 or 3 things, right? 2 or 3 things that are popping up over here. The schedule planning worksheet. Oh wait, that's the submission box. My bad. This is the submission box. Let me go back. That's the wrong one. We don't want to submit it yet. We need to talk about it first, and you have until March. So there's just kind of a lot that comes up quickly, late February and early March. I try to just really load you guys up on the front end so that you know what to do with all of this stuff. And that way, as those due dates start stacking up, you've already been briefed on what the assignment is. This is a schedule planning worksheet. I did not design this. This comes from our counseling office. When you meet with a counselor, they usually will have you do this. Thumbs up if you've seen something like this before. When you
I did it at the falls.
Yeah. Okay. If you registered completely remotely, you may not have, but this is just it's a nice basic pattern that I think is helpful for students. Your name, student ID number, who you met with. So keeping up with the person that you met with previously is helpful, right? Because that way, when they come back to you, they can remember, they can help you. Keeping notes, they can make notes. You can make notes on the sidebar. I feel like this worksheet is so helpful if you'll download it and use it. This is your first quarter. Most of you, this is your first quarter. If you transferred from somewhere else, maybe you have some previous classes that can transfer over, and I would use the notes box to do that. Maybe you already had a couple classes that were already knocked out previously and are going to transfer, but you need to make sure with a counselor that is the case. So you'd put guidance 102 here plus whatever other couple classes you're taking. That's your first quarter. And when it says quarter right here, you put winter 2022. How many credits total are you taking, right? You need to be planning for spring first and foremost. And I'll remind us as we get closer that the calendar on the SEC website will show you like what date registration opens. And so that way, if you want to get in with a good professor who's got high reviews on ratemyprofessor.com or whatever, you can get in on that first registration day. But that'll be your next step. It's just planning simply for spring. What we want you to do, though, ideally, is plan all the way through. Even if there's some changes that come along the way, we want you to have a roadmap, not just for like, what's the next step in April, but what's the next step for next fall? We want you to have at least a tentative roadmap in mind so that you in your mind and on paper too have got a plan for graduation, and you're not spinning your wheels and potentially, using your funds, using your time, and then, oh, whoops, I still need one more class or something. We don't want students to be dependent on the counselor, like to get back to you to be able to tell you exactly what classes you need to take. We want you to be in control. We want you to be taking the lead on that. The counselors are here to guide you. We want you to be the one who's thinking about, this is what I really, really, really want to do, and these are the classes I need to take in order to get there, type of thing. Okay. So just be thinking about this. And this is something when I meet one-on-one with you, we'll talk about the scholarship letter. We'll also talk about this though. I'm going to refer you back. I'm going to open another tab here. It should move with me. If it doesn't, just let me know and I'll exit the screen share and then screen share scc.spokane.edu. You would go here and go to what to study. I'm at the main college website, what to study. And you would start searching for programs, right? So philosophy, I don't know. This is actually good information for me, Stephen. I don't know offhand. I've got to guess. I'm guessing it's a general liberal arts degree that's transferable to a university, but let's see if I'm right.
And that's more or less what I'm taking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a nice little TED Talk here too.
That guy is my philosophy professor, Jeffrey
he's one of our
Bagwell.
professors. I
Yeah.
don't know him personally, but I've been on some faculty meetings with him, and he seems like I would email him if I was you for this assignment and just say like, hey, can I pick your brains a little bit?
Yeah, he was the one who I emailed about the professionalism activity number 1.
And I would say he's a good example. I don't know him well, but anytime I've been on a faculty meeting or whatever, he carries himself well and he's respectful of others, which is something I look for. And
Yeah, I really like his class.
Yeah.
He wrote the textbook for the class.
Someday I want to be there. So someday I'm not writing the guidance textbook, but I'm writing an employment preparation textbook, helping students with resumes, cover letters, interview skills. So
yeah, see, that's awesome.
Buy my book, guys. If that ever comes out, it's going to be cheap.
That's awesome.
I'll sell it on Amazon for like $7.99 or something. But that's what I'm working on. It's like, let's help you get a job when you finish college. That I'm working on that textbook. Okay, but yeah, I would aspire to be him, Steve-O, and I'm sure he's well tenured. Okay. I'm maybe a half the instructor that he is, but okay.
Oh, I doubt that.
So guys, this is what Steve-O is looking at if he wants to major in philosophy. And boy, is this a scary paper, isn't it? We will deal with the ins and outs of this a little bit more as you go. A lot of your professions, though, are really well streamlined. So this one is probably the scariest one, Steve-O, the general liberal arts, associate in arts transfer degree. They keep it real broad with tons of choices so that you can tailor it. But then that's the scary part, right? It's like, how do I tailor it and then get the exact ones I need? Others, so let me stop that share. Let me see if I can, let me stop that share, guys. And I'm going to see if I can go into another one that's pretty well tailored for you. Give me a second here to share that. So yes, that is daunting. I saw one person's comment. That one's daunting, but let me show you the better news is we do have some that are pretty easy. So let me show you, like, for example, welding or cosmetology. I'll do cosmetology. Those are some, look, see, I've already searched for that one before. If you make a decision that I want to go into that particular profession, it's just the 2 years that I'm really looking for now. Maybe I'll do more later. They have it laid out, who to contact. You can get either a certificate or you can get the 2-year right here. Sorry, I've got one of my little ones here this morning with me, but she's doing some coloring. Here's what the opportunities are, career opportunities. Here's your schedule. Look at this. It's laid out for you. Ideally, this is what we want you to take in spring. Ideally, this is what we want you to take in the next quarter. And they kind of have it laid out and make it a map, like, easiest for you. And that's because this is what you need in order to get a Washington State license to be able to work on people's hands and faces and feet and all of that, and hair. So does that help? I forget who it was who asked about said it was pretty daunting. Does that help a little bit? Uh-oh, got a thumbs down and daunting, but some of them are a little easier is what I'm saying. The overall point, though, is I'll help you, and so will our counselors. I have to be cautious. I do feel we have a great counseling team. Have I shared? I think I've shared the general one before. I think I've shared the general one before, like how you generally email counselors, but I'm going to go back to that really quick. And that's also from the SCC website. So let me navigate one more time here, just again to show you how to navigate for our students. So these are my favorite 2 tabs: what to study. I guess how to pay for college is a helpful one too, but for our students, We did this a long time ago. This is the resource tab. You go to For Our Students Getting Help, and then counseling has their own tab. Okay. And so they got a phone number. Here you are, mainline phone number, email counseling@sccspokane.edu. If you have a specific advisor that you've worked with, previously, and you'd like to work with that person again, you can look them up using the faculty and staff directory. Okay. I think I've shown us this maybe at the beginning of the school year or something. I can't remember, but I want to show you again. So I'm going to use one of my favorite counselors here, and they are all wonderful. I forget how she pronounces her last name, but Megan. Oh, it actually clicked for me to email her, but you can click this and it would open up the information about her, how to email her directly. Okay. A couple of my other favorite counselors just as a demo here, but we have many good ones. I would recommend this person, Kathy Schaefer. There you are, honey. And again, you can just kind of open up her information as well. Okay. So go ahead and get on that. Their schedules get booked. So I would say, like, if you're in the mood for emails, you have to do it for an assignment anyway. Email a professor, which is worth 10 points. Whenever you're ready, email me to schedule an appointment with me, and then go ahead while you're at it and email your counselor to go ahead and get an appointment on the books. Because when you're done, I'm going to help you start that worksheet. You still have to go to a counselor and get kind of the final okay, because they are the ones who are the experts, more so than I am, about exactly what classes you need to take to get that ideal degree in philosophy, right? We got lots of choices, and I will help you get started, but they need to look at it and have the final okay on everything. Okay. And that's just to ensure that I didn't mess up. Okay. And that you didn't mess up. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that does help.
I think my screen is freezing up here. Uh-oh. Oh no. Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I had a little screen freeze there. So I'm going to look at the chat really quick and look at those questions. When sending an email, how do I address them if they haven't said how they prefer to be addressed? First name, last name, both. Great. There's a possibility okay. So let's talk about that. I like that question. Thank you for posing that question. And I'm going to just open a blank Word document and show us that. I think that's a good example. So here we go. I'm not screen sharing, am I? Let's do this again. Here we are in Word. I'm going to make my font super big so we can see it, if that will work for me. Maybe not that big. 26 should be big enough. Dear Professor Doe, or hi, Professor Doe, if you feel more comfortable. Just refer to him as Professor so-and-so, and I would use the last name. Hi, Professor Wilson. And I go by Jenny, and you may be, or Jennifer is fine. I go by Jenny, actually, like shorthand or whatever. But if you don't know me, if you're only taking the online class and you don't know how I want to be addressed, I mean, literally just say, hi, Professor Wilson, and then, my name is, that's how I would start. And believe me, it just makes it so easy for the professor to immediately be able to picture you. My name is John Deere, and I'm a student in your, I always keep wanting to call this my AppLed 102 class, which is the in-person version of the class, but this is Guidance 102 class that meets TTH at 10:30 on Zoom. You can give them the section number, but those numbers are so long, like a big several digits worth number. They may not even be able to picture that either. Let's say if they teach 5 guidance classes, but just something like that to open it and just let the professor picture you. Then as you're ready to close out, so you're going to type about whatever. If you're in Steve O's case, like, I'm serious about pursuing an actual career in this field. What are some steps you'd recommend me to take? I'd love to have scheduled just a little meeting with you to just ask you about how you got to where you are and what recommendations you have for me as far as a career path, something like that, whatever it is you're going to write. And at the end, thank you for your time. And I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely. I'm going to sign it again. I'm going to pretend that I am Steve O right now. Is that okay? I hope, Steve.
That's
I
okay. You
always
can
pick on you.
impersonate me.
Stephen Osmond. And then again, I'm going to remind him the class, guidance 102. Okay. That helps the professor. We get so many emails in some cases. This has been kind of a slow week on my emails, but there's times like when I was out for COVID at the second week of school, I was so overwhelmed. The wait time was like 48 to 72 hours. 72 hours was like good versus my normal 24. So having that there handy, like, okay, yeah, I know that guy. Okay. It helps. And I'm hoping that answered the question. Are we good, guys? I'm hoping. Okay, are there any other questions on the call before I let you guys go? We've got 2 or 3 different assignments that are open assignments. Nothing's due immediately, but this is what our February looks like. Okay. Any questions?
I just have a question about the quiz that we took
Yes.
for Sunday. I'm honestly just wondering if anybody else had as hard a time on questions 11 through 15 as I did, because I couldn't find the answers in the chapter.
Thank you, Steve, for sharing that. We should have. I need to check on that. Were they related to like a specific profession?
Yeah, they were taught. One of them was like the difference between hydraulic and pneumatic
Okay.
mechanics or
Thank you
something
for
like
letting
that.
me know. I have 2 classes. Our in-person class, we're actually touring a few programs like live on campus. Like we're doing walkarounds on campus. It's fun. But they actually went and toured that program last week.
Oh, okay.
So they of course had a couple questions added to their quiz about that program. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I feel like I truly struggle with keeping the 2 sections separated. So you guys should have had a 10-question quiz. Has that happened on any other quizzes, Steve?
No.
No. You guys should have had a 10-question quiz on the chapter. We didn't do any program tours or visits. I'm sending you out, hopefully, possibly in your case, to go check out philosophy. But okay. All right. So Jordan had that problem too. Thank you, guys.
I still got 13
Please.
out of 15, but
Please give me feedback, okay? And also keep in mind, and I've even said it wrong, like, hey, Applet 102, and I'm like, wait a minute, what class am I in here? Please give me feedback, okay? So that I'm aware. I feel like I'm a way better, not as good as Jeff Bagwell, but way better instructor for my in-person classes. I'm trying.
well, yeah, doing this
Give me
stuff
some
online,
feedback.
doing it online like this would be, in my mind, complicated to keep everything right. But because I don't know, I struggle with technology like that.
It does, and it just depends on if you're the professor that's got the GoPro and got the earbuds and got the just everything all kind of set. We're doing our best to accommodate students' different needs. So like you're not even here on campus, right? You're at a distance. We're also doing our best in weird times to accommodate different professors' needs, which is kind of cool. So I've been appreciative that they've allowed me mornings online, and that way if I need to work from home I can, type of thing. Not that it's the best scenario, but it's kind of allowing me and others to like just keep chugging along as best we can. Hopefully we'll get normal. I don't know if we'll ever get normal. I don't know if we're going to continue to have a COVID crisis or what, but anyway, that's a separate question. Any other questions? Thank you for bringing that to my attention, and feel free to always let me know if your email to a professor needs to just be to me and say like, Ms. Wilson, I'm still confused about one of these assignments. Like, send it to me, okay? And you know me at least already. So your assignment, you need to email a professor about an assignment in their class or something. I'd rather you do it outside to others, get to know other professors, but if you need to, hit me up as well, okay?
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? And Steve, I really would rather you hit up Professor Bagwell. He's a good one.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Have a good day, guys.
Okay.
I've got
Thank you.
Steve, Jordan, Dom, Take, and Sarissa on the call for today.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Doing okay, Sarissa?